Hello, explorers, and thank you for joining me on some advice and tips on decluttering. So, I know there's many videos out there about decluttering, but I'm sharing my personal tips and advice on decluttering experience, especially after being minimalist for a very long time and being inspired by Marie Kondo, reading her book, and starting our minimalist journey that way as well. But not only that, it's very special and dear to us because minimalism has helped us really pick out the things that do spark joy in our lives, things that we keep in our home that are meaningful to us or useful to us. And it allows us the freedom to not spend so much on material things, but instead spend money on experiences and memories. So that's just our lifestyle, and we are excited to share some tips and advice that we learned through the 31-day daily declutter challenge. I kept calling it 30-day daily declutter challenge. I don't know why. I think I was stuck on another month. But yes, it was 31 days of decluttering. And if you've never done the challenge before, I highly encourage you to try it out. It starts off really nice and slow. You declutter the amount of things that correspond to that day. So if you are on day 5 of the month, then you're decluttering 5 things. Or if you are on day 18, you're decluttering 18 things that day. If you haven't done the challenge before and you would like to start, I highly encourage for you after this video to go over to my playlist on my channel and take a look at every single video. You can watch it in order if you'd like. That I did for an entire month. I posted them all there and they're saved right there. And so you can see all the items that I got rid of, the items that I just found in my home. Even as a minimalist, I still had a lot of items, even if they're small. And hopefully it will encourage you to give it a go, give it a try, and not feel so scared or alone in your journey as a minimalist, because I know it can be very intimidating to start getting rid of things, especially if those things hold sentimental value or you are unsure. There's always a little bit of a factor of fear, right? What if I need this? What if I can't get it later? So please feel free to follow along with your own journey, watching those videos after watching my advice and tips on the best decluttering that you could possibly do, that you can apply to your lifestyle and every day. So let's get started. So I have 5 tips that hopefully can help you on your minimalism journey. Number 1 is don't put it down, put it away. So this is something that I discovered that I was able to finally verbalize through doing a daily declutter video, but it was something that it was always in the back of my mind subconsciously. When we come into our homes from being out all day, think about all the things that you bring from out to inside with you, and you start putting them down on the floor. So you take off your shoes and sometimes you just throw them on the side. You take off your jacket, your backpack, your bag, your keys, your phone. Think about all these items, your lunch bag, your water bottle. There are so many items. And if you have a family, there's even more things. So think about every single one of those items that you start putting down. Well, by the time you get home, you're already tired. So those things sometimes remain exactly where you put them down. But do those things have a home? So this is a great way to start thinking about where these things can live. A home for everything and a place for everything and everything in its place, right? So if you think about your important essentials like your phone, your wallet, your keys, at least those 3 things, where can you put them? Well, I like to use sometimes cardboard boxes. If you find a really nice one, they become like little shallow trays. You don't need to buy a tray. There's some things that you can just utilize that are already in your home. You don't need to buy them. So if you have a tray, great, you can use that. But if not, you can do it like me and use the shallow end of the shoebox, for example. Turn it over and you can put it in a drawer, or you can put it someplace where it's visible and just put your essentials there. And make sure it's not a million things that you're dropping from your pocket, but it's your absolute essentials. So don't put it down, put it away in its home. Number 2, get rid of items that are in the same category as others. So this will not apply to everything. However, it does apply to most things. Going through my drawers, for example, skincare or makeup or office supplies, You can have multiples of these things. So when you take a look at it, really figure out how much you will need. You don't need 4 or 5 different lotions unless it's something specific, like one for the face and one for the body. You don't need a million different rubber bands. Maybe you only need 20 or 25 instead of keeping an entire pack of 100, right? So try to reduce the amount of things that you need, and the things that you don't, maybe you can donate, maybe you can give to somebody who actually needs it. But I think when things come in packs, we often feel like we need to keep that entire pack. And then that adds up to the bulk. And then guess what? It's just going to remain there. It's going to live in your home, and your home ends up feeling like a storage space. So try to get rid of things that are in multiples of the same category. That way you don't wind up with too much of the same thing. Number 3, get rid of manuals. So whenever you buy something, whether it's an electronic, a device, whether it's a piece of machinery, furniture, there's a million manuals that I am sure wind up in everyone's homes by the end of the year because we keep buying new things sometimes. So those manuals, I will tell you, for the most part, you don't need. Why? Because we live in a digital age, and most of the manuals that you need are available online. They really are. Like if you check on your manufacturer's website, you will be able to find those manuals, or you can always, if you really need to find one, you can email the company website and ask a representative for the manual. I can almost guarantee that they have a digital form for all the manuals or instructions that you may need. So keeping them in your home, again, your home is treated like a storage space. You really don't need it. It's paper clutter. You can definitely recycle it. You can toss it whatever you like, but just get rid of manuals, because otherwise you have stacks and stacks of manuals that you really don't require, and they're just using up space. I can think about the amount of times that I've actually needed to refer back to a manual, and that time was maybe once. Out of all the things I had, I only had to look at a manual once, and I simply found it online. It's as simple as that. And if not, if you need help putting something together, assembling something, guess what? There's a lot of tutorials online, a lot of videos that show you how to put things together or troubleshoot a lot of devices. So you really don't need to keep so many manuals around. Number 4, get rid of extra pieces or accessories. So sometimes when we buy things, there's a lot of extra pieces that come with it. Do you really utilize every single one of them? Or do you keep it just because it is in our nature to keep things together as a set? So if you truly think about it, there's so many instances where, I can think of one. When we bought a blender, the blender comes with a lot of accessories, a lot of different pieces. And we realized that we only use the actual blender cup and one set of blade and the cover. That's all we needed. We really don't use all the extra cups. We don't need the food processor. And there were a lot of different lids, different blades, and we found it personally just unnecessary. But if you use all those pieces, then by all means, please keep them. But I will let you know that a lot of people around me find that they don't often use all these accessories that your items come in or come with, and instead they just clutter up your home. So whether it's a blender, whether it's, let's say, makeup brushes, do you use every single makeup brush when you get it in a set? You may not, right? So donate it, declutter it, give it to somebody who needs it. But do not keep extra accessories or extra parts from the things that you have bought. Do not feel the guilt that comes along with putting apart sets, because I think a lot of people suffer from guilt, whether it's emotional guilt from someone giving you a gift, or whether it's the guilt of separating a set because we like when things are whole and even numbers usually. Don't feel the guilt. And don't feel that shame. It's okay. And once you separate those sets, once you declutter an item, I promise you there is a freedom, and there's like this uplifting feeling that you feel afterwards. You feel so much lighter because that item is not there to weigh you down. Last but not least, tip number 5. If you have not used it in 6 months, declutter it. So this could apply to most of our items. However, there's a few exceptions, like Christmas decorations perhaps. Seasonal items like winter gear or snow gear. 6 months is quite an amount of time. If you really think about it, if you have not touched an item that is in your point of view every single day or that you pass by all the time, if you don't need it, if you don't use it, then what is the point of keeping it there? So, apart from the items that are exceptions, you can and you are able to get rid of these items. I know it's a little bit hard and I know it's challenging to do that because this is one of the hardest rules out of the tips and advice that I'm providing today. But this one really frees you up and it gives you the liberty to not be weighed down by so many things because you end up keeping so much, but do you really utilize everything? It's so beautiful to be able to live in a home where everything you see is useful to you, is meaningful to you, and valuable. Not keeping it just because someone gave it to you, just because you bought it and there's extra pieces that come along with it. If you have not used it, get rid of it. If you have not used it in 6 months, get rid of it. Donate it, declutter it, whatever you need to do, but please get rid of it. Sell it if you must. I have made a good amount of money on Facebook Marketplace or on Mercari, just selling the items that I had in my home that I have not used, but they're still in amazing condition, and I know somebody out there is definitely going to find use with it. So I'm a huge believer in donating. I love donating items to people that absolutely need it. So hopefully you walked away with some very useful information, some tips and advice that you can apply to your everyday life. And feel free to check out in the playlist on my channel the 31-day daily declutter challenge so that you can do your journey along with me. And hopefully we'll see you soon. Goodbye, explorers. Happy decluttering.